Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Armband. I'm Chris, Kieran is here too, and we've got double game week fever, haven't we?
We do, yeah.
We're
Excited.
hot, I need to check my temperature. Yeah, we're loading up on all those juicy Everton assets, selling all our Liverpool ones. So we're feeling good, aren't we?
I mean, they're the form team, right?
They are the form team, 2 wins in two. They're going to win against Leicester and then invariably against Liverpool, so why not play the assistant manager shit? But no, we'll be doing all that tonight. We're previewing both the teams, talking a little bit about assistant manager just so I can get my head fully around it now it's in the game. And yeah, all things are rosy, really. I'm just making sure. Wait. Oh yeah, oh, cool. I was just making sure my microphone was working, but it is, so that's
It
good.
is.
It
Okay,
is.
good.
Perfect. All right. Well, let's have a look at our points from last week. Kieran, you can start us off.
Sure. Yeah, so 70 points was enough for a decent-ish Scream Arrow. Yeah, so it was from 204k up to 166k. So, getting back a little bit of the points that I lost, or progress, sorry, I've lost recently. So yeah, that was decent enough. Trent with the assist. Shame to lose the clean sheet in the last few minutes. But yeah, he could have been on for another haul. Gabriel coming in for 7. Salah captaincy went fine. I never really was going to go for Isaac, so I'm fine with the return, of course. Gordon getting return. Palmer and Rogers both blanking. Shame. Isaac obviously double return, and then obviously my big guy this week, Gakpo, the transfer in for João Pedro and Jackson, and I got Mateta in for Jackson as well for on the other side of that move. So yeah, Mateta turned to shit, unfortunately, but Gakpo the big haul and making up the difference this week to get the green arrow for sure.
Yeah, it was a nice game week. That Gakpo move was good. Like I knew I wanted to get rid of João Pedro last week, and then as the week went on, I was just like, I'm just going to hold him one more week, Everton, and I can see which Liverpool player I want. Which I think, even though it sucked last week, I think it's opened my eyes to Gakpo's ceiling over McAllister.
I'm just glad I didn't overthink it. I was just like, I had the transfers to do it, and I just thought, obviously the Ipswich game is the perfect time for it, so why not? And
do it. And I think probably Mateta was a bit unlucky from what I saw as well. Like he had a good chance early on, but he was quieter. So I do still think I'll probably have him at some point this season, but maybe now by the time the double's out of the way, I've got other things to move around. But yeah, I think it was a good game week. Good game week for sure. Who did you sell again? You got Mylenko. I forgot about that.
Sold João Pedro, Jackson, and Cucurella to get.
That was right.
Yeah, Mateta, Mykolenko, and Gakpo. So yeah, set up for the double 1 week early. Obviously, shame I didn't play him, but didn't see that coming as much with the clean sheet. All good, really.
Very nice. Right, my team, 63 points. Again, benching Bednarak's goals. What am I playing at? It's 2 goals in 2 now. He's in form. So Pick finally got his first clean sheet since I've had him. So that was a bit of a surprise, to be honest, at Brighton. I kind of thought he'd just pick up some save points. Fabianski's an interesting one for both of us because he didn't play, and it kind of implied that he's lost his place a little bit. I don't think it's a problem because I already own Pickford, and I doubt he's going to lose his place. But it's definitely something just to have there. Like you, I had Trent and Gabriel. Milenkovic, who I kind of thought, I didn't think either he or Castagna would keep a clean sheet. But then I was like, it's more likely that Man United score more goals than Bournemouth just because I really rate that Forest defence. So when that 5-0 came in, I was just like, oh my word.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they just got taken apart. And Nuno said after the game something like, we've now conceded 7 goals in our last 3 halves of football and not scored any. So that is a bit of a concern. And their fixtures do get tricky now. So I'll probably play him this week. But then after that is much harder run for Forest. I hope the wheels aren't falling off too much. Then like you had Gordon, Salah, Palmer. Palmer is a bit interesting at the minute. It's like very much feast or famine, and Chelsea have fallen off as well. But yeah, I think you'd be brave to sell him at this point. But he's just been quiet recently. Then Mbeumo was nice just to, I don't know, I've had for a few weeks, and he's blanked through those tricky games, and now he's got Spurs coming up. And then the front line, Wood blanked, Pedro blanked, and Isak. So yeah, it was just enough for a small green arrow. And yeah, it gives me quite a lot to think about going into this week. But I'm quite set on what I'm going to do. So we'll chat more about that in a minuten. Right, let's talk about teams, shall we? And things and bits. So should we start with Everton?
Yeah, we'll talk about the form team, I guess. So last two game weeks since Moyes come in, they've got an average XG of 2.89, or they've accrued an XG of 2.89, which is sixth overall of all teams in the last 2 weeks, and then an XGC of 1.9, which is also sixth. So they're doing well on both sides, it seems like right now. So obviously definitely improving from where they were. 4 goals in that time, which is tied fourth, and then 1 clean sheet, obviously tied with 7 other teams in those 2 weeks. Shots 15 as a team, which is actually 18th, so that's obviously not great for an attacking point of view. But they've got 6 big chances, which is 6th again overall of all the teams the last 2 weeks. So yeah, not bad. Defensively, like 2 big chances conceded, which is 5th of best of all teams. 27 shots conceded, which is 12th. And I was thinking that was food for Pickford, but we'll talk about that in a second. And 7 shots on target conceded, which is 5th best. So they're actually conceding loads of shots, but most of them have been off target, and Pickford's not getting as many saves as I thought. So so I'll start with Pickford, I guess. Like goalkeeper, you've already got him. 5 million, 15%. When I did the notes, he's probably gone up a bit by now. So despite conceding 27 shots in the last 2 weeks, Pickford only actually has 4 saves in that time. And this includes obviously that 3-2 game against Spurs, and they only conceded 11 shots in that game, but yeah, he still only got 4 saves over the last 2. So maybe not the sort of massive save guy that we thought it would be, to be honest. Like obviously we kind of associate their defense with being kind of porous and him getting lots of chances for saves, but not really the case right now. Season wide they've had 8 clean sheets, which is actually only 1 behind Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, and then tied with Arsenal, Newcastle, Man United. Impressive for a team that's been fighting sort of relegation. Obviously had their manager sacked, and I feel like Dyche was obviously good, at least at having them defensively solid. So he'll probably get another job sooner rather than later, I imagine. So second highest scoring goalkeeper now on 95 points, only 4 points behind Sells. So and with this double coming up, and obviously the run of Forest coming up, I imagine Pickford is probably going to be number 1 goalkeeper in the next few weeks. So
I agree,
he's had at least 1 extra save point in 12 games so far this season. He's had 2 extra save points only twice. So as I said, maybe not the massive shot saver as we thought. But he has played every minute of the season. You were talking about possible losing his place. No, I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't think there's going to be any risk minutes at all. So both games at home for this one. He's had 5 returns at home versus 4 away. So there isn't really a bias in sort of home versus away for him. Last 6 weeks, Leicester, obviously, who are their first opponents, have got 5.5 XG. It's actually 19th of all teams. So, that's looking like it could be a really good clean sheet chance. Leicester have also had 11 big chances, which is 17th of all teams, 60 shots, which is 18th of all teams. So, that home game to me looks like an absolute banker. If they're not keeping a clean sheet, which obviously they have been really solid lately, that seems like it's a really bad outcome for what should be a really good chance at a good clean sheet though. So I can see him getting possibly 8 to 10 points, kind of like across both games. I think that's kind of a real possibility across this double. So maybe even more if he gets more save points versus Liverpool. I don't know. You've obviously got him. Do you think he's a good pick?
Yeah, I do for the double and for the foreseeable. I think he's quite expensive now, and I kind of think that price is only going to go up, perhaps again towards, because if he gets it's like an easy pick, isn't he, as well, when he's top of the goalkeeper standings. And I kind of think this is the week he's going to go past or close to Sells, because Sells has got like a good fixture, and his ownership's obviously only going to increase, so he's not going to become much of a differential. I agree about your point about the save points. I was just having a look while you were talking about that. Like, I hadn't noticed, but in all of those tricky games that Dyche had before the Villa game, there's like 6 or 7 games in a row here where he's getting minimum of 4 saves, and in the last 3 his highest is 3, and he's also had 2 and 1. So that is a surprise actually. And I did think when I was watching that saw that Brighton result coming, I was first thing I thought was, great, he's kept a clean sheet, let's see if he's got any extra saves. And to only have 1 in like a 1-0 away win was a bit of a surprise. But no, I think I'm expecting saves in the Liverpool game, and I'm expecting a clean sheet, hopefully, in a Leicester game, but only because, like you say, their XG numbers are way down in the last 4 Leicester. So despite that win against Spurs, I think that Everton will manage them a bit better.
I mean, who's the highest owned goalkeeper at this point? I think it's probably Raya still.
Maybe.
I guess I'm not even sure. But like, would you suggest people who have Raya to just jump onto the Pickford train? Like,
yeah, I think he's for the double. Yeah, it is Raya, then it sells Fabianski, Pickford. I would say I think Pickford is a better goalkeeper option than Alisson for this game week. If you're wanting to get a double play, just because I don't think Liverpool's defence is providing enough value for money at the minute. Even though he is cheaper than Van Dijk, I just don't think there's enough upside with Alisson recently, and that's part of the reason I don't like really expensive goalkeepers. But he's not much different, I suppose, to Pickford. But yes, the long and short answer was if I was wanting to get an Everton defender, I would probably pick up him this game week.
Okay. So DCL, obviously hamstring injury. People were obviously looking at him. I talked about him a couple of weeks ago, how he was looking better after the new manager, and obviously this goes and happens, and he's probably going to miss both games, if not way more than that. So obviously that makes the stock for Ndiaye at 5.4 million, 3% ownership go obviously well up. Like, he took the penalty in that game when obviously Cavalier went off, so that's obviously good for him on penalties. But he's had 5 goals and 0 assists across the season, which obviously is not prolific at all. But he does seem like to be a fine enough pick if you want to go for him. But I'm certainly not expecting him to go mad this week with their fixtures. I just don't see him hauling, basically. No. He's only managed an XGI, expected goal involvement, over 0.5 once all season, and that's not including the penalty versus Brighton. So that's not great, and he has played pretty much all of the minutes. So he's blanked 16 game weeks out of 23. He's never got a double-digit return. To be honest, I think if you're looking for a cheap forward, and he is actually a forward, I thought he was a mid in the game, but he's actually a forward. So if you're looking for a cheaper forward, honestly, I think you just ignore him and just go for Wissa, who's starting a really good run, who's playing Tottenham, who the defense is just atrocious. And the stats are embarrassingly in Wissa's favor, like, obviously at this point. So like an XG of 3.1 versus 10.03, expected points of 64 versus 94, an XA of 0.9 versus 1.2, big chances of 6 versus 20, and then shots 23 versus 47. So like, just spend that a little bit of extra cash on Wissa, and you're just going to get a way better asset. Like, even though there's a double, like, Wissa could get double returns in this game versus Spurs, and then NGI probably he maybe gets something against Leicester, and that's not saying he definitely does. And then you probably don't expect him to do much versus Liverpool. So it's just a punt, I guess. Under 5% ownership, I guess, why not? But at the same time, I feel like there is better options still.
I think if you had plenty of if you had like max 5 transfers and you had a spot, I could see the benefit of doing it. But he's like not a long-term pick, and unless you're playing a game where you're rotating that 8 for Taka or trying to make the most of that, then perhaps he's not a pick for a team. Basically, I do expect Everton to win the game against Leicester, and I do expect that he's likely to be involved in goals just because he's in form under Moyes. And he's getting good minutes, and with DCL out, he's going to be on pen. So there's a lot of there's a few strings to that very small bow. But I kind of think he's a player that if he's not your 8 for Taka and he's your 7th, he's almost like a transfer out after this game week. Even though the fixtures are fine up until game week 29, I've just had a look after that. It's Palace, Man United, Brentford, Wolves, West Ham. But and if you play any wild card around that time, maybe he's fine. But it's just when you look at that on paper, 5 game weeks could turn out to be a very long amount of time with a player who this season has got a really quite small points per match output. Basically. So
assume you're not interested in him?
No, I'm not, to be honest. No. In the Everton attack, no, I'm not really there. We don't really know for sure that Calvert-Lewin's out either, do we?
I mean, I don't know actually. I thought he was out for at least a few, but don't know exactly. So I mean, my forward line of Isak, Gapco, and Mateta, I'm not selling one of them to get NGI. So yeah, Everton midfield. Yeah, any assets to speak of? I've just put no.
No,
McNeil is the top scorer, and he's on 65 points, and he's been injured since game week 16. So that tells you all you need to know about the Everton midfield. Yeah, Everton defenders. Top scorer is Ashley Young on 73. However, like the 2 games since Moyes come in, he hasn't started either of them, and so doesn't appear to be in Moyes' plans at that position. So. Yeah, Tarkowski, 4.8 million, has got 69 points, just below Young, and then Mikolenko on 4.3 has got 65. But surprisingly, between those two, Tarkowski and Mikolenko, yeah, the stats all favor Tarkowski. Like, you know, the XG is a 1.0 versus 0.5 for Tarkowski, XA of 1.7 versus 0.7. So the centre back's expected assist is you know a point higher than Mikolenko at wing back. Not great. Well, I think he played right or left centre back the other day, actually. Sorry. So, and then the expected points for the two of them is 64 versus 54. So Tarkowski's winning in all of those. So if you can afford maybe he's almost a mid-priced defender, isn't he? Tarkowski. If you could afford that, then maybe it's worth it because he has got history in getting goals and things like that from corners and stuff. So he has got a goal threat. So yeah, Mikolenko's XGI across the whole season has been basically 0.25, and he's not gone over that. Miko has not got over 0.25 XGI all season, is what I was trying to say. Wow. Which is and he's played most of the minutes, and that's really bad. So his XA is poor as hell. But then Tarko has passed 0.4 XGI 3 times this season. So that just says that Tarkowski's got a bit more goal threat. Even more assist threat. So yeah, just being in the box, I guess, on set pieces, obviously favouring him.
Has he actually had a return this season?
No, he's got no goals, no assists. But yeah. So I don't think there's much to pick between them. Obviously, it's probably just funds. 4.3 versus 4.8, and then obviously Mikolenko is probably nailed on at least because Chilwell's not come in that people were talking about, but I think that was rumoured while Dyche was there. So who knows if that's going to be a thing. But then there's O'Brien at 4.5 million, 0.2%. He is actually playing wing back, whereas Mikolenko possibly isn't. And then he started the last 2 and played all the minutes bar 3, the 2 under Moyes. So that, you say he probably favours him, and he's obviously an uber differential at 0.2% right now. So unfortunately he's not cheaper. It would have been nice if he was like 4 million. Just to have someone like that to be playing those win-back games. And I don't know why he was 4.5 million at the start. Seems strange that he was priced that as for someone who's not starting any games. But he's a differential if you really want to go there. Yeah, and that's it. The Everton assets, meh.
Yeah, I agree. What did you just get Mikolenko then because of funds reasons last week?
Pretty much, yeah. I got him just to free up some funds on the bench, get them out of the bench and onto the pitch a little bit more. He's going to be pretty much not playing most weeks for me just because he's a cheap player and he plays. So and that's it really, basically.
Yeah, Harry in our chat saying he's got Pickford just solely on him. Sole Everton player, and a bit like us, he's asked actually who to start, Amado Rodgers and Gabriel Munoz. Perhaps we'll talk about that when we talk about our teams, because you and I are both having this. Actually both of us are benching Gabriel as it stands this week, I think. Yeah. So yeah, similar boat. Just on the Everton defence, I'm probably likely, even though I wasn't last week, but now because I didn't make a transfer, I think I'm going to get a second Everton defender, just because Castagna and people who own Fulham defenders might be doing the same thing, but they've got decent fixtures to hold, and they look like they're playing in game week 29, and I think that Fulham the Fulham double in 25 seems unlikely. So I think it makes sense to get rid of Castagna. But yeah, Mikolenko looks on the best pick because of price, I think, probably. But yeah, I don't expect anything from an Everton defender this week. An attacking return, absolutely not. I kind of expect them at a 1-0, probably even a 1-1 against Leicester. I don't expect any amazing returns. And yeah, it's I would be more than happy to pick Young if he'd started the games under Moyes. I think that would probably be a better option. But the fact he's seeing his minutes managed there just wiped him out as a pick as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Verbruggen as my keeper, and he's been atrocious. So I could be tempted into the Pickman move, but it would probably. I could probably do it for free, but it would kind of block me getting like Cliver or someone like that next week, because it would chew up a little bit of the funds.
I know, that's the thing. It's like we wouldn't really be focusing Everton so much, and like the second game of their double is difficult, so it's not really like for any other reason than we're expecting like 1 or 2 appearance points and hoping they don't get a yellow card. There isn't like, I wouldn't say there's huge upside in that second game. They did like the history does show that they've played well against Liverpool at home and have done like okay in the last 2 years. I think they won, didn't they, last year and kept a clean sheet?
Can't remember,
pretty sure they did. So I think it's difficult to back on any of them really. All right. Well, I just wanted to talk a little bit because it's a bit of a condensed show, I suppose, because our focus is mainly about the double game weekers, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about triple captain against assistant manager this week, just to get your thoughts on it, because before doing a bit of research for the show, I hadn't really given enough credence to like looking at assistant manager chip for like either this game week or the rest of the season. Had you?
I haven't really looked at it at all, to be honest. Yeah,
and I was just, when I noticed that Moyes had like got 19 points for that away win against Brighton, I was like, oh, that's big. That's like that's powerful.
I noticed it says like they get bonus for winning 5 point team. Yeah, but like, what is the bonus? Like, how many points is that? Have they actually said what that is?
I think it's 5. So
okay,
let me see if because I have written it down somewhere. I'll go over. I think it's 5 points for a team that's I think 5 places above. But I just wanted to go through the triple captain against assistant manager. Now I think a lot of people are going to be triple captaining Salah this weekend.
Yeah.
And there's probably only this and maybe one other game week you've got a chance to play it, because I think he's going to have it might be likely that they have a double when they have their rearranged game week 29 fixture, because I expect them to get through. So but that fixture is likely also going to fall into like a larger double game week where you're probably more than likely to want to play like a bench boost or a free hit, so you've got more doublers. I think the benefit of captaining him now is obviously that there's no other teams. So for the record, I still think assistant manager last 3 game weeks of the season will provide more upside due to team and like form motivation, so you're more likely to pick up that big table manager boost and the bonus. But I just wanted to compare it this game week and sort of almost temper my expectations, because beforehand I was thinking, I'm going to play the triple captaincy this game week, I'm going to get a big green arrow. And now I'm thinking that I'm not going to get a green arrow this week of playing the triple captaincy, just because of how many people are also going to be playing assistant manager and how powerful that chip is. So Salah has averaged 11.7 points per game away from home this season, which is great. But recently, by his own high standards, that's been reduced a bit and he's been quieter. So his highest points total in the last 4 game weeks has been 8, and he's also had 2 blanks, which we know about. First time in weeks also that Haaland tops the XG in the last 4 game weeks, and Salah's now 3rd for XA in the last 4 game weeks. So he's definitely had a drop, and it's probably not a surprise given that he's had 2 blanks. So I tried to look at the expected points we might be ready to get against Everton and then just compare that to the assistant manager chip. So against Bournemouth earlier in the season, he only had 6 points, and his last 4 games at Goodison, whilst he's had 3 goals, he's actually blanked in his last 2 games there. So his recent history against Everton is not great. We know Bournemouth are playing well at the moment, so it doesn't look like it's going to be like whopping triple captaincy scores. And if you look at many point predictor sites, so I've looked at a few. I looked at the Hubs one, and I looked at like what FPL Review give like as a baseline score. So the rough prediction for the 2 games is 14.8, which is much more conservative than his 11.7 points per game he's been averaging so far this season. So you'd expect, based on that, the the triple captaincy score to be roughly around 45 points for this game week. So, if you compare that against system manager chip, we're suggesting that a standard captaincy is going to net 30 points off the back of that. So that's 15 points times 2, and the triple captaincy 45. So that means that assistant manager chip users for this game week only need to find, because we imagine they're going to captain Salah, 15 points to cover the difference. And I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of assistant manager chips played. So to go over the points you can expect to receive in assistant manager, a win is worth 6, the draw's worth 3, each goal scored is worth 1, clean sheet's worth 2. So the table bonus is 5 for a team that beats a team 5 places above it, but I think most Well, none of the table bonus obviously applies to slot because they're top of the table. So if you're going to
Yeah.
gamble on Moyes, fair enough. So in a scenario, just this is quite conservative as well, I thought. In a scenario where Liverpool draw 2-2 against Bournemouth and win 2-0 against Everton, slot matches Salah's triple captaincy, and he's also got like the next 2 games to play with. So I think the main point I wanted to come back to this, but it's difficult to judge still, is I think overall it's easy to say that the assistant manager chip will be stronger this game week, and those users will get a bigger game week score in 24 and beyond. So I think generally a lot of red arrows are going to be there, even for people that play the triple captaincy. But I think you've got to remember that you're playing against people who have used their triple captaincy already, and
So
better it's chase the bonus.
People who possibly get more out of the attacking manager chip this week, plus they've probably triple captain Haaland, so they're probably up quite a bit, you would imagine. But at the same time, the people who are playing triple captain this week probably are going to have assistant manager, or will have assistant manager still to come.
Exactly.
So then it should even out, you'd imagine. But yeah,
I know it feels like it's always like this in FPL. It feels like your rank is never going to be level until the end of the season when everyone's chips are generally done. Sure. But I think more so this season because of how much variance is going to be with the assistant manager chip. Like the point swings are going to be huge. Like I've just got Moyes up on screen from his the Brighton, but 19 points he got. Let's say someone I only gave Slot in my example, but if you flip that and say Moyes, you pick Moyes for the double game week, and they get even a draw against Liverpool, or you get some manager bonus. Yeah, he could easily outperform Salah this game week. So
yeah, I think if you are playing the AM, you play it on Moyes. Like there's no point with Slot almost. You play it on Moyes for the win against Leicester, and then you hope for something against Liverpool.
I think Slot's the reliable banks and points, but I agree. You play it on a lower manager for the giant upside. But yeah, I think it was just really to compare the two, and it wasn't until I did that just so I could see how strong the assistant manager chip is basically. And I think a lot of ranks are now going to be skewed from here until the end of the season that it's available, because you don't know who you're competing against. But
Harry says in the chat as well, which is a good point, is which maybe hasn't been made clear, is if you kind of you put in your first manager and then you kind of want to transfer someone out, or to transfer the manager out, that's a -4. That's a free transfer gone as well. So you can't just willy-nilly just change the manager.
No.
It's transfers. So yeah,
and look at the budget.
Not ideal.
No, and obviously the budget makes a difference as well. And look, we can see now, because I guess this makes. I hadn't actually looked at this before just now, but if I sort managers and teams selected by percentage, I can see that already heading into this game week, I can't understand, 43, I imagine that's 43% of people who have activated the chip have already selected Slot. Team select, I imagine that's what that means, because it's obviously not allocated a manager unless they're in. So yeah, 43% of managers who have activated it have selected Slot, and 30% have selected Moyes.
I don't know why there's any percent on anyone else other than those two right now, but yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I don't know why. Just people testing out the chip, I guess. But yeah, so I can't wait to see how the chip manager chip plays out. But I just think this game week is from a double game week point of view, is not as exciting as an older one, because there's going to be an extra strategy in play. Yeah. And I think it's very likely that we'll still get red arrow to people with assistant manager chips this game week. And then you've just holding on for the last 3 game weeks of the season, or whenever you play it. But I kind of think those are the good ones, because you're going to get a double in 36 and then 37, 38, trying to pick some sweet ass table bonus. Yeah, it's just... I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's a cool chip, but just when I looked at it, I was like, oh god, this is powerful.
Yeah, for sure. The ceiling is definitely there for what would Iriola would have got last week? Do you know what he got?
13 points last week.
Yes, that's pretty good too. How many? Were they 5 places behind Forest?
I don't know. On the cusp of it. Let me see. Manager clean sheet.
Probably close.
It doesn't.
Maybe it was
manager table bonus. No, it wasn't. So it was manager table bonus. So Moyes.
But yeah, if they're playing some tougher teams in a double come later in the season, then I think he could be a good shout, because he's just Bournemouth are looking great. So yeah,
no, I love it. I just think it's going to be fascinating to see how that changes this week. I haven't really got a whole heap on Liverpool players this game week, and we haven't really talked about them. Harry's just mentioned more in the chat. They haven't, so FPL hadn't told anyone about that at the start, and people have activated this week have found out the hard way. So if I don't misunderstand that right, if you don't choose the right manager when first activated, you will have to use transfers or -4. That kind of makes sense, to be honest, because that's kind of how the rest of the game works. If you transfer in the player, Potter if they get a double. So yeah, I just anyway. Oh god, sorry.
Yeah, it does make sense that like it would cost money or whatever, but like at the same, it's kind of just like a normal transfer. You're putting this person in. If once you lock it in, you have to spend -4 to get someone out. But yeah, at the same time, they probably didn't make it clear enough either. So yeah.
Do we want to just mention Liverpool players very briefly? And we feel like we've done a lot on them the last few weeks because we angled them for that Ipswich game. But you're already set on Gakpo, Salah, and Trent. I kind of think that's pretty much going to be the template now, because even me, who was quite strong with McAllister last week, now that Pedro still hasn't done it, I don't really have a spot in midfield who's worthy of replacing for him. Whereas I do have João Pedro, who's stinking up the team. Do you think most people will conform to that?
Yeah, most likely. You could see Diaz being the one that gets the points next over the double, and that would screw over all the Gakpo owners. But yeah, I think most people are gonna have a striker to move out rather than a midfielder, I'd imagine. So like you. So yeah, I think those three is 100% the template.
Sloboslai put up his hand a little bit last game week with those 2 returns, but
yeah, it's just if he plays both is really the issue. Yeah, because he's travelled with the Liverpool squad for tonight, so I imagine he starts in the Champions League. So that's going to be a game where Salah, Trent, and I think Gakpo went as well. But
I heard that, but Diaz got rested. I was a bit like,
oh, did he? I didn't really notice that actually. So I imagine Gakpo probably starts on the bench. I mean, I hope so anyway. But yeah, so. Yeah, if Gakpo starts, that's an issue, I guess. But there is the Plymouth game in the FA Cup. Yeah, so there's that to rest those players as well. So I'm not too concerned if players like Szoboszlai and Gakpo get minutes tonight. I don't think it's a huge issue.
I'm just having a look. So Gakpo only played 67 at the weekend, so I wouldn't be surprised if he has his minutes quite fairly managed, to be honest. And it was the week we've been talking about the double Liverpool defense for weeks, and I've just not been doing it because I don't like doubles. But like, I'd be so irritated if I'd owned Virgil or like Alisson last game week, just thinking you're going to get a 0-0 against Ipswich, and for just quite a standard 6 points, and then to lose that in the 90th minute is exactly why I don't really fancy them.
Super annoying.
Yeah, because I think Bournemouth are going to do really quite well now until the end of the season.
It sounds like you're doing it for Everton though in this double, so.
What am I doing? Sorry.
You might be getting a second Everton defender.
Oh yeah, I'll get a second Everton defender for reasons of I'm going to play one in game week 29 as well, so it kind of sorts that solution out. So yeah, I'm just not on the Liverpool double up at the minute, to be honest. Hi to Adam in the chat. Right, should we go through our teams? Have you actually pressed that chip activation button yet?
I haven't, no, not yet.
Oh my god, you could do it live on stream for some likes and subscribes and stuff.
Well, we can't have a...
No, we can't.
What's it called? The stream to my picking, but yes.
That's true.
I mean, I could do it on my phone and show the camera, but...
I could do mine. Triple Captain Play.
Yes, you do yours.
Think of all the views we could get.
I mean, at the same time, just talk about the triple captaincy in itself of the fixtures of Bournemouth away and Everton away. It's not great.
They're not great, no.
It's I think for a 45-point triple captain and the 14 points predicted score or whatever, that seems generous almost. I feel like he might get one return or something, and I'm just thinking I'm wasting my triple captain here. But Bournemouth are it's not like Bournemouth are amazing defensively. They can definitely be scored on, and obviously they've played good teams, but they haven't played the attack of Liverpool, who are just beating everyone. So there's that, and then obviously Everton away, it's still they're improving, but they can certainly be beaten still. So it doesn't look on paper as good as I thought it would, and I'm a little bit worried about playing it and tempted to keep it, but. At the same time, there's so many chips that I have. I'm going to need to play it at some point, because otherwise I'm playing a triple captain on a single game week.
Yeah.
Probably because there's the blank, which will probably free hit, I guess. And then the other 2 doubles possibly, which would be bench boost plus possibly attacking manager chip or whatever, if there is 2 doubles. So yeah, it's there's not a lot to go around, and this just seems like the better time to do it, because obviously if there's bigger double game weeks, you're going to want a bench boost because it's going to be more teams involved, and this double in a short one for obviously the best team in the league at the moment with 2 decent enough fixtures, it probably is the right play. But he's not going to be matching Haaland's haul, I don't imagine.
No, I'm just trying to have a quick look about when Chip plays. So the note I've got on it, which is admittedly like a week or so old now, and the predictions might have changed, but the general plan was triple captain this week, wildcard in 30, bench boost in 33 when we think there's going to be doubles, free hit in game week 34 when we think there might be way fewer game weeks, because I think it's the FA Cup quarter final that game week, and then use the assistant manager from 36 when we think that the FA Cup games are going to get rearranged into. So I think it's if you can get through game week 39 using transfers, that would be better, because you'd be able to play a free hit and a big juicy one in 34.
Yeah.
This is the best part of the season, isn't it? When you plan this, it gives you reason to
the problem.
Into FPL.
Yeah, the problem with my team of not doing the game week 29 free hits. I've got 2 Palace, 3 Newcastle right now, but I am thinking of moving a Newcastle out, and I am thinking of moving a Palace out, so that might be helping me. So yeah, we're on to my team.
Your team, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, playing obviously for Bruggen, not expecting much there. May think about Pickford, and yeah, fine. I don't know, maybe we'll see. Trent obviously playing, Hall playing against Fulham, who's obviously starting, I guess, ahead of Gabriel, and then Robertson as well. Mikolenko obviously starting for the double. Salah, captain at the moment, will be a triple captain, I think. Gordon, Rodgers and Palmer, and then Gakpo, Isaac, and Mateta. I'll probably put the Vice on Trent. Where are you sticking Vice? Is Trent more smarter?
You know what? I'd actually had it on Palmer, but I would probably do Gakpo. Harry's just made the point in the chat about, I mean, he's talking crazy, really, because he said about not captaining Salah, which seems really scary. But he said, "Why go full gamble on Gakpo and Trent triple captain?" So I don't know. You could maybe put the Vice.
I don't think I could do it. Yeah.
No, Vice on Gakpo maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
don't really like it.
And yeah, the moves I'm thinking is, I was thinking about Gordon to Mbeumo. I think that probably will happen.
Someone just asked that in the chat, and I was like,
I know.
Save it another week. But
yeah, I said I'm probably going to do it, because I just feel like Mbeumo's got Hall potential against Spurs at home as well, and Spurs defense is just so bad. And whereas Mbeumo and Visser and Brentford attack looks good right now, whereas Gordon's kind of been ticking along, but he's not hauling. Whereas Mbeumo certainly could. So I'm exchanging someone. Fulham at home is obviously, Fulham are not bad. They're a good team as well, so they could keep them to low scoring, I imagine. So I think Gordon out to Mbeumo makes sense to me. Exchanging a guy that's not hauling all the time for someone who's on penalties and got a great fixture and a great run starting now. So yeah, him out to me makes sense. And then I'm looking at I was thinking possibly Sarr to Kluivert, and just benching Kluivert this week. And then
just doing the move?
Yeah, just getting it done, really. Or just saving it for next week, because the funds on that are about 0.1 leeway, and Kluivert's probably going to start going up. So yeah, or I could do Gordon and Mbeumo, and then Bruggen to Pickford is someone I could do, but not loving that as much, I don't think. So yeah, I'm thinking Gordon and Sarr to Mbeumo and Kluivert, or Semenu, and yeah, just so that is getting rid of 2 players who've got the blank in the 29, or probably a blank in 29. So yeah, I quite like those.
Did you have 2 free transfers on this week?
I do have 2 free transfers. Nice. Yeah, I had 4 last week and I used 3.
Oh, nice. Feels good, doesn't it, to stack those transfers?
Yes, it's been nice.
I got 4 this game week, so yeah, we'll go for it. No, I think it all looks good, to be honest. All looks good. Adam in the chat said Gordon to Mbeumo or Everton defender. That's That's basically what you've just been asking.
Well,
kind of, or Everton defender.
Yeah,
We
I think
mentioned
probably Everton defender first. I would think.
Depends who you're getting rid of,
Because
really.
Gordon's probably fine to keep if you don't have an Everton defender.
Yeah,
for this week.
I'm kind of thinking a lot of people are going to do what you're doing and get Mbeumo, whereas I'm, having both of them is fine this week. But I do think Fulham is an okay game for them.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at my team. My team still looks like it's just ready for all the moves. I've done nothing yet. I've just thought I'd wait it out just to make sure Gakpo gets through and there's no other funny things. So like I said, I've got 4 transfers. So Pickford in goal, Trent, Gabriel will be benched for Castagna, who will become Milenkovic. So I did actually have some notes on this. Milenkovic I'm going to play. So just wanted to back up the notes on this because I think Harry asked it earlier. So I was
not Bednarik for his other goal.
Oh God, I know, he's so irritating with all these goals. And he's wiping cleans of mine as well. So basically, I wanted to look at playing an Everton defender over any other top defender this week and whether it was worth it. So I'm just going on average points per game so far this season, which has been fairly decent because we've only got a small sample size of Everton under Moyes, so it's hard. So Everton at home points per game average this season. Young is by far the highest, 5.5 points per game. Obviously, that's unsafe. Braithwaite 3.5, Myalenko 3.4, and Tarkowski just 3. So that any of those averages would be doubled. So Braithwaite 7, Myalenko just roughly 6.8, Tarkowski 6. So then I looked at the average of all the single game week players who were like the popular defender picks to see if any of those were anyway close. And actually, surprisingly, they're quite high. So Saliba 5.2 average at home so far this season. Hall 5.1. I'm surprised actually that Aina and Milenkovic 4.6 and 4.1 respectively. So okay, but not as good as Hall. And Gabriel actually the worst of the bunch, 3.6. So only slightly better than Myalenko and Braithwaite. So that made me think, on balance, especially because Gabriel is playing Man City, it does make sense. Milenkovic, for me, let's say, has got a higher average points per game, and he's got the easier fixture, and the same for you in Hall, I think. So yeah, I think it's reasonable, even though it looks wrong. It's like reasonable to bench him this week.
I mean, yeah, it's a home fixture, but it is Man City at home. Like, yeah, obviously they haven't been great yet, but you expect them to score probably.
Yeah,
so yeah,
I know their games have been tight, which does make it difficult, and it's like they'll be more switched on. But
yeah,
no, you're kind of backing Man City to score. So as the rest of the team, so yeah, it'll be Trent, Myalenko, and Milenkovic and Myalenko, then Gordon, Salah, Palmer, and Mbeumo. And then it will be Gakpo, Wood, and Isak up front. And like I say, triple captaincy will be on Salah. And then I think the exciting thing next week is how we all come out of that double. Because you, like me, sound like we're going to go in on Bournemouth. I'm thinking Cliver, and I'm also going to get Kirkes as well, I think.
Yeah, I was talking about switching Rodgers to Cliver, but like, I wanted to get rid of Sarr because he's the more expensive right now. Rodgers can probably just be a decent enough first bench, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I think Rodgers...
But yes, Bournemouth look great, and their fixture run is starting after this week for sure.
I know. I'm almost tempted for a little bit of like spice in the Southampton game to get 2 Bournemouth mids. But
yeah, that sounds fun.
Because Gordon's got a bad fixture run and Dibling's injured, and maybe playing like 2 of them in that first away game against Southampton might be quite juicy because they're cheap anyway.
Yeah.
Django and Clive.
Yeah. Someone like Robertson for me could go to Kirkes as well, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, nice. No, I want to make sure I'm on that from that Southampton game, so keeping the transfers primed for that. Cool. I think we're all right, aren't we now? We chit chatted it through.
Yeah, shorter one, just on the double, but yeah. Does anyone have any other things in the chat? I think
so. I'm just scanning. Thanks for advice. No worries. QNTV says he's got Boom already, so Sade's very tempting.
Don't know about that.
I'd rather have Wisser.
Yeah, but is Sade a mid or forward? I don't actually know.
He usually plays forward, but yeah, I think he actually is listed as a mid.
I'd probably go if you're looking for a mid, then just go Damsgaard if you wanted someone like that, because Damsgaard's just been quietly doing really well, and he's only 5 million. Yeah, excuse me. I think he's got the most assists of a Brentford player in the Premier League already this season.
7 assists.
Of I think it's like I think it was 8, wasn't it? Or maybe I was wrong.
I just had a quick look now.
Okay, but yeah, he's having a quiet season.
Brentford's
quite good season.
good as well, aren't they? Spurs at home. I feel a bit like that. not bad, but like something's going on at Spurs. It always happens, doesn't it? Like I feel like they get in a rut. When could get sacked before that game? Maybe they got Europa League tomorrow
it's
night.
possible. Yeah, they got Europa.
But to be honest, losing at home to Leicester, I thought was like enough writing on the wall. To be honest,
100%. Yeah, there's just I feel like the writing's on the wall. Just as you say, for Brentford to smash him up and he gets fired. But we'll see.
Yeah, cool. We'll see. But then I don't like the bounce back. Anyway, right. I think we're all right, aren't we? Got any more to chit chat about?
No, that's it.
We've got a big long break after this, haven't we? Between the first two games, QNTV says he's at 60k. He's at about. He was like top 10k.
Yeah, so I was up there a few weeks ago. I've had a bad run too, but mine's a lot worse than yours.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know. If I can end the game week somehow inside the top 250k after this, I'll be happy. But we'll see what the colour of these arrows are.
Yeah, I saw on live FPL my score for last week. It said I was 70 points behind top 10k, and I was just thinking, blimey, that's a lot. But that's people have used chips, so
that's true.
I guess we'll see.
You got to think 3 assistant managers on 4 across the double game week and 2 singles, Keeg. That's gonna swing you right back.
I hope so. Yeah.
I hope so. Cool.
Still the goal, 10k. Yeah.
Still the goal. Awesome. Right. I think I've had fun. You've had fun. It's good, isn't it, when there's a double game week on?
Yeah. Something to be excited for.
It is something to be excited for. I don't like the big gap, though, between Monday the 3rd and then Wednesday the 12th for the second game. You got like 10 days there. Just waiting and worrying. It does. Cool. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back next week. Maybe just do like a little recap of that game week and then the week after to preview the next one and get excited about the second double game week game.
Cool.
Right. Laters, everyone. Have a great game week.
Thanks all.
Enjoy those chips. Bye.